Hey, glad you can make it. Come on over. Come on over. Welcome. Welcome. I'm glad you made it. I was worried you got lost in the dark. I know it's a big dark forest, so hopefully you're not afraid of the dark. You shouldn't be. You got a big Roo with you. So why don't you come sit down by the fire with me and let's get spooky for tonight. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying the spooky season. I love this time of the year with all the spooks and cool critters roaming about. For tonight, I got a story, a spooky story for you guys, if you don't mind listening. Wonderful. Let's get cozy and get into it. You know, the mind can be a very spooky place when left in the dark. And with that, we find our protagonist left with their own thoughts as they try to find their way to their destination. It was a cold, windy night as they had made plans to meet up with their friends for a get-together and a celebration. They didn't live far from the meetup and thought it would be nice to go for a stroll out at night. With how pleasant the weather was feeling, it was crisp and cool, perfect walking weather. There was a soft whirling about in the air as they make their way from home towards the meetup. Halfway along, there was a nature park they had to trek through to get there on time. During the day, it was brimming with life and felt calming to walk through. During the night, however, it was much different of a story. The air felt thinner than normal, with a soft fog from the coolness of the storm that had happened. Since it had rained, parts of the ground still had pools of water in them as they walked along the path. The moonlight and fairly spread out lights shone into the pools of water, making them glimmer in the darkness, almost tricking the eye occasionally. Getting a text message and feeling the vibrations. They check their phone quickly before coming to a stop and standing above one of those full pools of water, only to read the worried message of where are they, and what felt like only moments of walking was nearly 30 minutes to an hour. In their peripheral, they notice an odd, faint green glow, and on further inspection, it looked like two green orbs, like they were looming behind them almost. Our protagonist instinctually looks behind them, only to see nothing. It's just some random lights. It's nothing. Best to keep moving forward. They're worried about me, exclaiming in a daunted tone before moving off again. As they were walking at an eerily pace to get out of the nature park, they felt something or someone was creeping behind them, or for worse, lurking behind them. Looking over their shoulder to see, it was just nothing at all, but just the wind rustling about in those bushes and branches. They take a sigh of relief, only to still be worried of what might be lurking about as they walk to their destination, taking long, deep breaths in and out. themselves down and to not overthink what might or might not be in the dark. As they keep walking deeper into the nature park, occasionally they would hear creaks and rustles of little, tiny, teeny, tiny critters bouncing about. It was concerning, but given their size, not too worrying after all. There was always bigger creatures to worry about, right? The cool, thin air giving a soft howl as it whooshes past them, kicking up some of the low, drifting fog, forcing them to be more focused on where they stood. What felt like they were getting closer to leaving the nature park was a relief, seeing a familiar spot where they had been before during the daytime. The pathway lights flicker and flicker and flicker and flicker on and off. The storm must have done a number to this one, as the light was much dimmer than the previous ones, even while the closer they got to it, mind you. They see a darkened figure with cold blue eyes emerging from what looked like the emptiness of the void and coming towards them with unwavering resolve and in a looming fashion. Their large paws thumping on the wet ground as they get closer and closer with each step. All while that large tail sways side to side, almost in eagerness with who they have found. Worried about the confrontation, they call out to gauge out what they might be and draw nearer to the light, almost like a promise of safety from the dark creature. "Hey, I'm not gonna hurt you," they proclaimed loudly, to which was met with no reply. But the darkened figure quickened its pace going towards them, with thuds of those large, heavy paws were getting louder and deeper the closer they got. It looked like they were readying themselves to pounce. "I found you at last," the darkened creature called out happily and with a snicker, before rearing up mid-stride and lunging towards them. Those open arms coming quickly with such force as they latch on and hold firmly, as that heavy form follows quickly behind them. The weight of the large creature easily topples them down on the ground with a deep sounding thump in the cold night air. He chuckles, sitting on top as those deep, glowing blue eyes gaze down, and those large, smooth thighs hug them in place. "Where have you been? I've been looking everywhere for you," wagging that large tail over their legs before getting a better view from down there, only to see a big, worried Roxie was happy to see them alive and well. Roxie looks up for a moment, only to see a pair of what look like two green eyes that quickly faded away to darkness. Our protagonist and Roxie get up and dust each other off and happily make their way to the party, knowing that they had each other's company to keep them safe. But before leaving the path, Roxie looks over to them and mentions, You saw those green eyes, right? Was that just me?" The end. Sometimes it's better to not let your imagination run wild but never discredit it. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you for the next campfire story. See you around.